Hi, and welcome back to Newbreed Film Reviews. We're on episode 29, and my name's Brian, and I'm going to be doing a solo review for you on Furious 7. So, I saw this a little while ago. I just haven't had the chance to sit down and do a review on it. Dave personally is, not much of a Fast and the Furious fan in general, so, he's going to not be on this. We're going to try to keep his opinions to himself when it comes to the Fast and the Furious franchise. I personally am a huge fan about the entire series. I remember watching the first one. I think it was, early 2000s, 2001, somewhere around there. And just getting roped up into it, wanting to have a tuner car and wanted to be a cool guy. I bought a truck and we put hood scoops on it and spray painted it with racing stripes and, wanted a Fast and Furious car. Definitely wanted that green Eclipse from the first series. So I would say I'm definitely a huge fanboy as far as, the whole series itself. And, I have to say that the Fast and the Furious 7 is a good movie. I like it because it, keeps the family going. You have to be a big fan of the series to really, appreciate the continuation of the character development and everything like that. First and foremost, rest in peace, Paul Walker. I think they did a great tribute at the end of the movie. I'm going to talk spoilers here, and I'm sure if you haven't seen it, you're going to definitely see the music video and know that they did a little nice tribute to him at the end, cause he did, die during the actual filming of Fast and the Furious 7. So, but otherwise they did a pretty good job of keeping the whole family together. Fast and the Furious 7 is not the top rated one, I would say, within the series, for me. Obviously, if anyone who's seen it out there, it's definitely over the top action, constantly throughout the whole movie, several different scenes, the scene where they're jumping the car between the buildings, and, that's just over the top ridiculousness, but, the fun part about the movie is it's just a popcorn movie, action movie, you can throw it on and get excited to watch some action. You're not going to really see any, character development from this one. They, did the crazy scene where they chased down the 18-wheeler truck or / bus thing, after they jumped all the cars outside of the plane. And I actually watched a lot of the behind the scenes stuff, and they actually dropped the cars out of the plane. And, for some of those shots, which was pretty cool that they actually did that stuff. And as you know, when they started out with the first Fast and the Furious, they kind of had to up their game, and, each movie becomes more and more and more and more action. And, this one is definitely over the top action. I just recently saw Mad Max in theaters, this weekend. And, Fast and the Furious 7 does have a lot of action, but I don't think they do it as good as Mad Max does. But definitely cool car chase scenes. The final scene where the helicopter's chasing them around. They do the crazy stunt where they pass the girl back and forth. I think it's pretty cool. But like I mentioned before, you're not really seeing too much character development. I think it's pretty cool that they, they just kind of had an action movie and kind of threw in what was happening with it. And they just kind of came up with this, kind of basic theme to the movie where they're chasing down God's eye and I don't know, I wasn't as happy with it as I was with the other series, the other movies from the series. Jason Statham was a pretty cool add-on, and he wasn't like a main character in the movie, which you thought that he was going to be kind of the main villain, but he wasn't portrayed that way at all. He was kind of like the nuisance that kind of kept showing up, and Paul Walker and Vin Diesel kind of had to like deal with him whenever he showed up, and he just kind of came out of nowhere. So I thought it was a pretty cool idea, they got you pumped up about it. I do think that The Rock was kind of punked out at the beginning, fight scene. But I think he had another movie that he was doing at the same time that they were filming Fast 7, so they kind of had to knock him out and not make him as important in the story. They just bring him in at the very beginning, bring him at the very end. So I guess logistically they had to do that. James Wan was the director for this, and I think he did a pretty good job. This is the first one that he's done outside of the horror series. With this is his first action movie, and due to the circumstances with Paul Walker's death, I think he did pretty good for as far as trying to put everything together. You can definitely tell, like, right off the bat when you're watching it that it's not the same look and feel as the other Fast and the Furious series. It's got a stylized kind of look that James Wan, I think, brings to it from all his movies. So I think he definitely could go into the actual action series if you want to. James Wan, if you know that he's the one that actually did a short film and actually invented the entire Saw series just off of doing a short film. They kind of picked him up, and then he did a bunch of Saw movies, and then he went into, I believe he did the Conjuring as well. He did Insidious, so he's pretty good as far as the movies were. And I hear he's rumored to actually do the Aquaman standalone movie if they're going to do one. So I like him. I think he did pretty good. Like I said, under the circumstances, under the time crunch, it was a pretty good film. I think that Kurt Russell, I was pretty excited to see him in the series. He's definitely got a swag to him that you can't deny. And he brings it in this movie, and you forgot about him for a while because Kurt Russell really hasn't been in anything that's really, been worth anything. But I think they set him up for the next movie, which I think they did announce that they were going to be having an 8 and probably a 9 and probably a 10. And the sad thing is, because of how much I'm a fanboy I am and how much I'm a member of the family, Fast and Furious family, I'll still go see them all. And I think they set up his character well. Mr. Nobody, I think was his name, but he was a good add-on. So overall, to get to talking about maybe the Fast and the Furious series, like I said, this one wouldn't be one of my top ones. I honestly loved Fast and the Furious, the 6th one, because, as you know, with the Fast and the Furious series, they were kind of jumbled at the beginning. You know, the first movie came out, it got a big, lot of attention to it, so they wanted to come out with the second movie. Vin Diesel didn't want to come back to the movie, so, just Paul Walker, and that's when they introduced Tyrese, and they introduced, Ludacris into the series. And, it was a fun movie. It was more of like a comedy, more than like an action. But it was kind of cool that that's how they introduced them two into the entire series. And then the third one, neither one of them wanted to come back, Vin Diesel or Paul Walker. So they went off on their own and they made Tokyo Drift, which, brought in Han as a character and brought in, whoever that kid was, the country speaking kid. And, they brought them into the series. And, like, I was listening to another podcast one time, and they said that Fast and Furious did the smartest thing in the world, is they accidentally created their own world, kind of like the Marvel series, where they actually, what they did was, excuse me, they actually created 3 different worlds and 3 different sets of characters from an accident from the 3 first movies, which is pretty cool. So they tried to basically reel that all in and bring it into the 4th movie, which I think the 4th movie was honestly one of the worst movies out of the entire series. I'd probably rank it at the bottom. At the end of this, I'll tell you what I think for my favorites, in order ranking of the best ones. And the 4th one, it just kind of felt like, all right, let's get the ball rolling. Let's try doing this again. But once they interjected and stuck, The Rock into the series, I believe he came in the 5th one. That's when it kind of got traction again. You know, no pun intended. Fast and Furious got some car traction. And, they really started tying all the pieces together, and they started to bring all the characters together, and they started to, create this team that we're seeing now in the Fast and the Furious 7 movie. And, they really stepped their game up with the 6th movie. And the 6th movie, I wrote this on the Facebook page after I went and saw the Fast and the Furious 6 movie, and, I think that the writer of the film, which I'm not sure off the top of my head right now, did an amazing job of tying every single one of the movies together. He tied 1 all the way up to 6 together. Even the weird Tokyo Drift that was kind of not really part of the series, he tied it all in with, how Han was linked with Vin Diesel, and then, The Fast and the Furious 7 kind of like played on that as well. And it brought all those characters together and it made all the series all in one. At the end of the sixth movie, you're like, okay, they all make sense and they all deserve to be together with each other. So, I thought that was pretty cool. That's my all-time favorite in the series. And they left you super excited with Jason Statham at the end. But like I said, you were super pumped that Jason Statham was going to be like a villain in the movie, but Fast and the Furious 7 kind of didn't deliver as much on that. They didn't deliver with the fact that he was going to be like a major villain. He was kind of like a side guy. But it was cool whenever he showed up. Whenever he showed up, he was like coming to bring some hell. So overall, like I said, I'm a big time Fast and the Furious fan. I think I own all the movies except for, obviously I don't have 6 and I don't have 7, but I have 1 through 5. So if I were to rank the movies, in order of my favorites, I would have to say Fast and the Furious, the 6th one, would be my top movie out of the entire series. Then the next one would be the Fast and the Furious 5, Fast 5. I would say that would be my next favorite. And then I would go all the way back to the first one, the one that spawned it all. If you go back there, I actually just watched the trailer before I got on here, and this shows you how old it was. Limp Bizkit was actually the trailer music to the very first Fast and the Furious trailer. So that kind of shows you, the timestamp on the age of when the movie came out. Fast and the Furious 7 actually would rank as my 4th favorite movie, just because of the over-the-top action. They kept the characters going. They kept you interested. A lot of cool scenes. They mix CGI with real effects. So I liked it. The next one that I would rank for my 5th spot would be the second one, Too Fast, Too Furious. It was fun. Paul Walker and Tyrese, I think, had a really good, chemistry with one another, and I think they did a pretty good job. Obviously they kept the series going from that movie. So I like that film. Tokyo Drift would be like my 6th pick out of them. And, it's just a fun movie to watch. It doesn't really, they nicely tie it in, like I just said, with the 6th movie, but it's a standalone film, but it's still fun to watch. It's not really a Fast and the Furious film. It's a Tokyo Drift film. It's about Japanese car racing, but they, nicely tied it in to the series, which, it's kind of good. And my last and least favorite movie out of the series would be the 4th movie. I can't even tell you too much about, I can't even remember what's going on in that film. I think they just kind of tried too hard, but I guess you needed the 4th film to get to the 5th, to the 6th, to the 7th. So overall, I guess that's my, Fast or Furious 7 review and talking about the total franchise. I'm excited if they come out with another series. Like I said, they nicely had Paul Walker have an exit. I wonder if they're kind of maybe going to incorporate him at all in the next movies, except for they'll probably do like I'm predicting maybe like a phone call or maybe like, some small portion. He'll have his brothers will do CGI just like they did before. Which I think, except for the very last scene, I couldn't tell you which scenes they did the CGI for Paul Walker in. So I think they did a pretty good job of doing that and still paying respect and homage to him. And it was a nice end to the film. And I think that all the rest of the Fast and Furious family kind of want to carry it on, because I'm sure Paul Walker was in talks to do an 8th movie as well. Which, hey, let's go to 10. I'll watch it all the way till Fast 10. So, good night, fellas and ladies, and we will, catch you on the next review. I believe Paulie's going to be doing a review, and then, like I said, we'll always do our reviews on Sunday night, so we'll have definitely 2 brand new ones up on Monday for you. Alright.